Families worried about expenses after flights exit. The bakers were stranded in Parma and are trying to make their way home. By Michael Race, business reporter, BBC News. With thousands of UK holiday makers having their flights home cancelled in recent days, many are worried if their extra costs will be reimbursed. Families have reported forking out for food, accommodation, and in some cases, alternative travel due to the chaos. Rules exist for expenses to be claimed, but there appear to be some gray areas. A figure suggests almost 2,000 flights to and from the UK have been cancelled due to a data glitch which hit the UK's air traffic control system. National Air Traffic Services (NATS), which controls most aircraft in UK airspace, said a rare system failure on Monday led to hundreds of flights being cancelled. The Baker family are among thousands of holiday makers who have been affected. Mark and Holly, along with their two children, were stranded in Parma, Majorca, when their EasyJet flight home to Brighton was cancelled on Monday. They told the BBC they were offered accommodation and a new flight in a week's time, but due to work and one of their daughters starting secondary school, they could not wait that long. Instead, the family embarked on an overnight ferry from the Spanish island to Toulon in France, where they are hoping to take 3 trains and another ferry to get back to Brighton by Thursday night. Mr. Baker said he was unsure if they would be able to claim for the alternative travel, excluding food costs. The family of 4 has forked out just under £1,000 so far on credit cards.
"Oh, I didn't see I had any choice,"
said Mr. Baker.
"When you're standing there at the airport at 11 o'clock at night with kids and you don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't know if I'm going to get this money back. That's my worry,"
added Mr. Baker. He said the family was being conscious on the amount they were spending on food and accommodation, given the guidelines around claiming costs, stating they need to be reasonable. Mr. Baker said he had tried to get in contact with EasyJet on the phone but could not speak to any staff member and so was keeping all of his receipts in the hope of claiming the money back.
"I'm trying to keep my costs down just in case. I'm not going to take the mickey,"
said Mr. Baker. Another family from Greenwich, London, told the BBC that they are currently stranded in Turkey after their EasyJet flight from Antalya to Gatwick was cancelled on Monday. Samina Ahmed is a school administrator and is missing out on work and a training course because of the delays. The family are currently staying in a hotel about 25 minutes away from Antalya Airport, provided by EasyJet. The earliest flight home EasyJet initially offered the family was on 8th of September, 2 days after her sons are due to return to school. They were in Turkey for a family holiday, but Samina, who is 17 weeks pregnant, feels overwhelmed. She also says she has run out of medication she needs to take for blood pressure. She says she is aware of another family who have rebooked a flight with a different company, but is worried she would not be reimbursed. "I just don't have that kind of money lying around," she said. EasyJet has since offered Samina's family a flight back on 4th of September, which she says is still too late. EasyJet apologized for the disruption in a statement and said that it was providing customers with assistance and hotel accommodation. It added it was advising anyone who has needed to make their own hotel or alternative travel arrangements that they will be reimbursed. It said due to it being a busy week for travel traditionally, its options for returning people to the UK were more limited on some routes. So it was putting on 5 repatriation flights, as well as using larger aircraft with additional seats. Rob Ward and his girlfriend Gabby are stuck in Ibiza for an extra 3 days. Rob Wood estimates that he is more than £2,000 out of pocket after his and his girlfriend's BA flight from Ibiza to London Heathrow on Monday was cancelled.
Oh, after waiting 3 hours on live chat to British Airways, the man suggested a flight on Saturday evening with a stopover in Barcelona and then Doha. We eventually found a flight on Thursday at 3 a.m. to Manchester. We've had to now pay for ourselves. We have to book back into a hotel and try to claim it back through BA expenses and miss work for the rest of the week, he said.
Rob, who manages 2 gyms, says he spent about £1,000 on hotels, £250 on new flights, and that he'll lose 2 days' income from his work as a personal trainer. He says BA told him he would have no problem getting reimbursed, but he can't claim it back until the end of the stay, so he's still out of pocket now.
Oh, you budget for a holiday, and this just can't be reasonable, accepted with no help from the airline, except keep your receipts,
said Rob. BA said people can claim £200 to £250 per night for hotels and £25 to £35 per person per meal. The chaos endured by thousands of UK travellers was a result of the company not receiving data that it could not process, leading to part of its system failing. NATS controls most aircraft in UK airspace and receives millions of flight plans every year. Due to the failure, NATS reverted to a manual system, meaning fewer flights could be handled, causing a huge backlog. The Civil Aviation Authority, CAA, the watchdog for the industry, says under UK law, people have legal rights on many flights to, from, or within the UK. If a flight is cancelled, a passenger's airline must let them choose between either getting a refund or an alternative flight to their destination. If another airline is flying to a person's destination significantly sooner, or there are other suitable modes of transport available, then people have a right to be booked onto that alternative transport instead. Rory Boland, travel editor at Consumer Group, which told the BBC that expenses could be claimed by people who had booked alternative modes of transport as a result of there being no flights available.
Oh, the airlines cannot claim an extraordinary circumstance forever,
he said. In the cases of the Bakers and other families, Mr. Boland said that
nobody should be waiting a week for a replacement flight.
As a law stated, airlines were required to offer alternatives.
Oh, at the earliest possibility. Waiting A week is never going to be the earliest opportunity,"
said Mr. Boland. The joint interim chief executive of the CAA, Rob Beeston, also said on Wednesday that customers should keep every receipt if they have had to cover their own meal costs and accommodation and make sure that claims are not excessive. He said that the organization was working with airlines to avoid any incorrect information being given to customers. The CAA advises people to not spend more than is reasonable for costs incurred as a result of canceled flights. It also says it expects airlines to respond to claims for reimbursement in a reasonable time. While people should be able to claim expenses due to the disruption being not the fault of airlines, people are unlikely to be eligible for extra compensation.